Listen up, George Lucas. This is how you do a prequel trilogy. Mic drop. X-Men Apocalypse. Now, X-Men Apocalypse is the latest installment in the X-Men franchise. It also happens to be the final movie in the prequel trilogy that started with X-Men First Class. I know it gets a little confusing, just like Deadpool said, timelines are really confusing. And if you guys want to know my overall perspective on all the X-Men movies, I just did a video where I ranked them from worst to best. You can check that out. It's right here on that channel. I put a link in the description, either below or near the end card. I got you covered. So, X-Men Apocalypse was once again directed by Bryan Singer, and it shows. Ever since Days of Future Past, he brought back the theme song. John Ottman's theme song, you know, the dum, da-da-da-da-dum, dum, da-da-da-da-dum. I love it so much. I'm sorry, hyped out of my mind. The movie takes place 10 years after Wolverine went back in time to, you know, stop this shitty future. And in the 80s, an ancient being wakes up from hibernation. That ancient being is the first mutant ever, Apocalypse. He soon recruits 4 horsemen, including Magneto, and now the X-Men have to stop him. And that's the gist of the plot, because I don't want to spoil shit for you guys. I only want to address some shit that was already revealed in the trailers. But yeah, this review is completely spoiler free. Now, from the get-go, I can tell you I've been a hardcore X-Men fan all my life. And Days of Future Past is still to this day my favorite X-Men movie and one of my all-time favorite comic book movies. Now, going into this movie, I actually was a little bit skeptical. Because the reviews so far have been mediocre till negative. And honest to God, I do not get that. I thought this movie was pretty fucking sweet. However, this movie does have some give and take. But me being a positive dude, let's address the positives first. First up, James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender. These two make this prequel trilogy. And again, they are phenomenal. They're both incredible actors, and they are every bit as awesome as Charles Xavier and Eric Lensher, as Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen once were. I love the fact that they took Magneto to a level that we've never seen before. Seriously, we get to see a side to Magneto that we've never witnessed before. And again, a lot of darkness, a lot of sorrow, a lot of sadness surrounding this dude. And you're like, oh man. And even though some of it seems a little repetitive, you're like, it still hits me where I live. I'm sorry. And Charles Xavier, James McAvoy in this movie, this is the Xavier that is as close to Patrick Stewart as possible, because now he is wiser. Now he is already a professor, and the School for the Gifted is running, which also means that we get to see younger versions of our original X-Men. Cyclops is in the movie, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, Storm, and even Jubilee. Concerning the new additions, Jean, Scott, and Nightcrawler were probably the most fleshed out. I mean, Jubilee, she is in it and she looks the part, but she is completely underutilized. However, they make use of the location and time period. Seriously, this is an 80s flick, and I absolutely adored that. Angel is in this movie. During numerous parts in this film, I was like, this movie might just be Bryan Singer's revenge for X-Men The Last Stand, because he gave us a great Jean Grey, because he brought back Angel, and even though Angel isn't as fleshed out, we get to see more of the character and his mannerisms than we ever witnessed in X-Men The Last Stand. Psylocke is in the movie, and yeah, I mean, she's hot, and that's pretty much the point. She's in the movie to look like a porn star, and job well done. And that's not a complaint. I think Olivia Munn is hot as hell, and I mean, just look at this. Damn. However, they also brought back Rose Byrne as Moira Taggart, who I loved in First Class, and bringing her back is essential to finish off this trilogy, because there are a lot of unresolved issues between her and Charles. I mean, her entire memory got wiped from her mind. And yeah, That adds a lot of gravity and emotional weight to Charles, which is something that I loved about this overall trilogy. Charles Xavier is a human being. Charles Xavier is relatable. He's still sort of in love with this woman, and she is more than just a love interest. Rose Byrne, not only am I in love with her, but she is funny, sexy, sweet, and a strong female character. I'm in love with her. I know, Olivia Munn, yeah, beat off material number 16. I'm going for Rose Byrne. And also, Quicksilver is back. And again, remember that awesome scene that everyone likes to quote and reference over and over again? The probably coolest display of superpowers ever in Days of Future Past? Yeah, they topped that. Grasp that, they topped that. Nicholas Hoult, also, again, great as Beast. I love him as Hank McCoy. He gets more emotional, and I love his relationship with Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. However, I'm sort of over the whole Mystique acting like Katniss, because this is the first time where Mystique reminded me too much of Katniss Everdeen. And I'm sorry, this is the X-Men. These are the X-Men. This is not Hunger Games. But she didn't annoy me or anything, but it is something that I did pick up on. But let's get right to it. Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse. I sort of have mixed feelings about him, because first time you meet the guy and it's in ancient Egypt, and I love that opening sequence. It's intense, it's great, it's awesome, and once you see him wandering the earth, you're like, oh, that's an interesting dude. However, during the climax, I was sort of underwhelmed with him, which is a bummer, because he's Apocalypse. The Bible wrote about this guy. Huh? What I did love most about this movie is the fact that our core characters all get a very, very satisfying conclusion. Charles Xavier, he ends up where we want him to end up. Magneto ends up where we do want him to end up. And also Mystique, Beast. Yet we are also introduced to this new band of X-Men that we, the viewers, already know and love. And they really stay true to these characters, and also the way they look, act, talk. That's phenomenal. The action itself was a little over convoluted at times. However, I love the fact that the X-Men acted like X-Men during the finale. They worked off of one another with their respective superpower, and that is something that we had not seen to this extent before. But one gripe I have with the film is some of the CGI. It is really noticeable, and the CGI in combination with some of those really cheesy outfits like Olivia Munn again, she's hot, sadly reminded me of Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And yes, I know I'm going to hell for even bringing this movie up. And don't worry, X-Men Apocalypse is way cooler than Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Then again, me taking a shit and throwing it at the camera is cooler than Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But it is something that I have to address. And now I have to talk about the elephant in the room, because the final trailer, and if you didn't see the final trailer, this might be a spoiler. You've been warned. The final trailer showed us Wolverine claws. Is Wolverine in the movie? Yes. More on that in the spoiler review. I will do another video on that. Overall, I had a blast with the movie. I do, however, think it's the weakest one in the second trilogy. But the new additions all worked for me. It was a blast seeing Quicksilver again. It was a blast seeing all those emotional impacts on our favorite characters, mainly Charles Xavier and Magneto. While the concept of Apocalypse seemed very appealing, some of the execution just didn't work for me. Like, this movie had a lot of trippy scenes. Like really trippy sequences. And I think less would have been more. But especially fans of the original cartoon show, the comic books, and X-Men Evolution are gonna be more than satisfied. Especially with the way they treat some characters that have been underutilized so far. Which is why X-Men Apocalypse gets the silver medal. Like I said, it is sort of the weak link in the second trilogy, but the movie, sarcastically enough, acknowledges that itself. So X-Men Apocalypse, have you seen it? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below. And thank you guys, as always, for watching. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then just subscribe.